guys to the first episode, the first edition of Sky High Productions, where I'm just going to be talking about different topics around the NBA. And the first topic today I have for y'all is the Charlotte Hornets, particularly how the offseason has been going. Now, this is a team where at first, if you follow me on Twitter, I've been very vocal about how their offseason has been, particularly about their signing of Gordon Hayward. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say I agree with this signing. Gordon Hayward has had 3 seasons in a row where injuries have significantly hampered his abilities. It's to the point where his role has been reduced to being the 4th option on a championship level team. And at this point, I don't think paying $30 million for Gordon Hayward is a good idea. However, now that I look at it from a different perspective, because I've looked at different articles, I've watched different videos on what people have had to say about the signing, and I still don't agree with it. However, when I look at the depth chart of this team, I could actually see a possibility where they could be maybe, last year they were a 10th seed. I don't think they'll be necessarily a playoff team, but I do think that they may be still a 10th seed, maybe a 9th seed, potentially fighting for the 8th seed if everything works out for them, which the main caveat is how Gordon Hayward comes out this season. Because we've seen before Gordon Hayward lead a team to playoff success with him being the sole all-star, the sole starter of the team. Now, this team, the Charlotte Hornets, they're definitely not as good as a Utah Jazz team back in, when was that? That was about 2017, 2018, that season. When a season around the time when he made the All-Star team. This team definitely isn't as good. However, I can see a scenario where this team is very offensive based and doesn't play any defense, because their draft day was pretty significant in my eyes, with Lamelo going at 3, and actually their second round pick, Vernon Carey. I feel like he could be a very good addition for them in the future because of how versatile he is on the offensive end. I don't suspect him to come out this season and be an impactful player, but if the Charlotte Hornets develop him right, which they have a terrible history of developing players, if they develop him right, he could potentially be good, but that's a big if. However, with the pieces what they have now, I could see a starting lineup where they have Lamelo Ball and Devontae Graham, both offensive-minded playmakers who are going to score the ball, and they they definitely aren't going to stop anybody in the defensive end. But I feel like with Lamelo's wingspan, and he still has the potential to grow being 6'6", 6'7" around this time, I could see him potentially gaining some type of defensive ability. All you can ask him at this point is to just give some type of effort. But that's your backcourt right there. And then in your starting lineup, you can either have a starting lineup of you have Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and PJ Washington at your center, which provides you with probably no rim protection at all. However, at least if you have a fast break, you have Lamelo pushing the pace, and then you got Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and PJ on the floor. I feel like that could be really effective. And Gordon Hayward, if he could stay healthy, which is another big if, he could be the star of this team. He could really help them push to be a potential playoff team. However, my previous thoughts still do linger on. I can't see a very possible reality, which is really what's going to happen most likely, where they're just too terrible on defense, considering that their only proper defenders are going to be Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and Bismack Biyombo, to be completely honest. PJ Washington, he's okay on defense from what I remember. I don't remember him being completely terrible. He's okay. Everybody else, Lamelo isn't really defending right now, even though I said he could give you the effort, but it matters if he wants to give you that effort. Devontae and Terry Rozier, they aren't defending anybody. So you have just too much holes in your defense where people could just manipulate whether they want to have a certain defender on their best player or whatever the sort. It also puts a lot of pressure on James Borrego to figure out how he wants his rotations to be, whether he wants to have a more 5-out system and give up offense I mean, not give up offense, give up defense, or if he wants to have a big man on the court that can potentially protect the rim, but it significantly hampers what your offensive players could do since they don't have as much spacing as they would before. And I'm not sure if I could trust James Borrego to make these type of decisions for my team to where he could potentially lead us into a playoff spot. Now, the team is still very young, and I would like for all of these pieces to just stay here for at least a season or two, because Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham, well, not Devontae Graham, I have to check his contract information, but all of the major pieces of this team will be here for at least the next 2 seasons. Therefore, it's very important for them to keep them happy and keep them here and just to see where they go, because you don't really know the ceiling of this team as of yet. Well, the ceiling of them right now. They could make trades in the future, but that's not something that they need to be thinking about right now. They just need to let this team ride out, let them play, and see how it goes. I have made a few comments in the past, really breaking down how terrible of an owner Michael Jordan is, and I still agree with that. He's still a terrible owner. I don't know if I would say he's the worst owner in the NBA. He's pretty close to it, but I wouldn't really give him that label as being the worst. Originally, when I was gonna make this video, the original idea was for me to do a video where the Pistons and the Hornets are clumped up together, because my original thoughts were that both of these teams were pretty comparable in their positions. However, I feel like the Hornets are making waves into being competitive, which I can respect. Nobody wants to see their team just be at the bottom of the conference. It's at least fun to watch a team fight for a playoff spot, which I respect that standpoint of wanting to see a team win. However, with these moves, it kind of mashes up 2 certain types of cultures together. You have a youth movement going on, and you also have a competitive, type of movement going on, which could work, but it also could not work, which is another reason why I kind of like the Gordon Hayward signing, because Gordon Hayward could be another type of leader for this team. He could be a vocal leader in the locker room, and he could really help hone in the abilities of someone like a Lamelo or Miles Bridges, who played the same position as him. Because I don't want anybody to forget, this team was a 10 seed last year. Now, they didn't make it to the bubble, but they were 10 seed nonetheless. And I could see a reality where they are, just a better 10 seed this year. But there's also reality that this team plateaus or even get worse, which I highly doubt, but it's possible. Because they didn't lose anybody in free agency major. They only lost Willie Hernangomez and Dwayne Bacon, who don't really have an impact on this team whatsoever, considering that they play 2 positions that are already occupied by players better than them on this team. But if, like how I said before, their defense is as truly terrible as I suspect, and mixed in with Gordon Hayward potentially getting injured again, which I don't want to see happen. I want to see everybody be healthy and succeed. But he's been injured these past few seasons, and it's very possible that he gets injured again, or he just plays he doesn't play a lot of games. He load managed a lot of the season, possibly, to reserve him. But at the same time, I don't know what they're going to be reserving him for. He's going to be 34 years old, making $32 million in the last season of the contract, which they're going to have to deal with eventually. And I could see a situation where it becomes a Nicholas Batum type situation, or it could really pay dividend for them. And if they do have to trade him in the future, they could actually trade him for something that's valuable and could really support more of this youth movement that I like what they had before, and they could continue with it in the future. But all we could do is wait and see until the time comes. I hope Gordon Hayward can stay healthy this whole season. I wish he could return to his all-star state like how he was in his last season in Utah. All we can do is wait. So I hope you all enjoyed. Like, subscribe, share, comment any topics you want me to talk about. Comment if you want me to talk about the Pistons like how I was saying earlier. And share with your friends, share with your family. Even if they don't like basketball, maybe I can teach them a little something. So yeah, thanks.